Well, it's finally September up here in Northern California, and that means blue wing olives are going to be coming off in the afternoons from now all the way through May. And we're going to tie one of the most effective flies that works here on the sac, on the upper sac, the Klamath, you can use them on the Trinity. They work on spring creeks as well, all the way through May. Today we're going to tie the Sweet Pea. I've got a number 20 Sweet Pea chucked up in the vise, and as you can see, the abdomen is super slim. It's got some nice tails. The Flashaboo wing case with the UV resin makes it pretty attractive. This is a pretty simple fly to tie with the peacock. So let's go ahead and start off. I'm going to go ahead and chuck up. This is a number 20 Fulling Mills jig force and a tungsten slotted bead. I'm going to use 70 denier UTC black thread. And I'm going to bring it all the way back to the bend of the hook. Next, we're going to tie in anywhere from 3 to 10 Coque de Leon fibers for the tail. Personally, I like to go longer than shorter. Use a pinch wrap to get those started in there. And then after I make a couple of wraps, I'm going to go ahead and shorten it just a little bit. And then you can tie it in all the way back to the bead. Next, we're going to tie in a stripped peacock curl. You can start it off up at the bead here. And again, I'm going to uncord my thread here quite a bit so that I can get some nice flat wraps to maintain that slim appearance on the abdomen, and then run it back up to the bead. I'm going to use my scissors to get rid of that. You can just yank it off usually. So now when you're wrapping the abdomen with this peacock curl quill, you have to be kind of careful because they can be very brittle. So I don't use very much tension to start off with, and there we go. That one just broke right off. So let's start that again. Put it in with a pinch wrap, run it back to the bend, run your thread back up to just behind the bead, and I'm going to snip off what's left of that curl right there. Now, again, you're going to use very little tension on this hurl because they snap right off very easily. Some people soak them in water, make them a little more pliable. Got to be careful about catching the hook point, and you just wrap it up all the way to right behind the bead. At this point, I'm going to capture it with a couple of wraps just to make sure. A couple wraps in front. Use my scissors to nuke the rest of that. I'm going to reposition my hook so it's a little more level. There we go. Now the next thing we're going to tie in is we're going to use some saltwater Flashaboo pearl. And the best way to do this is to capture it with a couple of wraps and make sure you have a tag on the end there so you can position exactly on the top of the fly. Make sure my bead is where I want it. Move this over and then go ahead and pull some serious tension and then bring it back. You want about 4 or 5 wraps right about there. It looks like it'll be good. And I'll bring this back forward, and instead of using my scissors, I'm going to use a craft utility blade. And this is why you leave this tag in here, so you can position it and also cut it off. Okay, let me get my bead There we go. That's positioned very well. Next, we're going to tie in some peacock curl, either one or two strands. I'm just going to use one. Put this in here. Get rid of the end. And then I'm going to make about 5 wraps or so forward to form the thorax. That looks about right. Capture it once. I'm going to make another wrap here. And I'm going to get rid of the end. And to finish the fly off, the construction part, we're going to fold over the flashabou right behind the bead. I'm going to check and make sure it's centered the way I want it. And then I'm going to make another wrap, and then I'm going to pull it down very tight. Come ahead, and then so that I can cut it off close to the bead so you don't have a big long tag sticking up. I'm going to use the craft blade again. At this point, we can use the whip finisher. Put about 3 or 4 good wraps on there. Tension it up. Part the thread. We have a little bit there. I'm just going to trim it. And then to finish this fly, we're going to use some thick UV resin on the flashabou wing case. And I like to fill up the slot in the bead and then bring it back over the wing case. We'll let that sit there. That looks about right. Use your UV light to cure it for 10 or 15 seconds. And that's going to make a pretty nice hot spot for the fish that'll attract it. Looks like a bubble for an upside down hatching Baetis nymph. And there you go. That's number 20 Sweet Pea. It's a pretty small fly. It works really well in all the rivers up here. So go ahead and get on your vise, tie up a dozen of these, and you can fish them all the way through May. I'm Bryan Quick with the Fly Shop, and I hope you can get out and fish as much as you want.